Gardening Therapy, with a focus on indoor hydroponic gardening. I want to ask you, when it comes to what you eat, doesn't it make who you are? Gardening has been documented as beneficial to individuals that are mentally impaired as early as 1798 by Dr. Benjamin Rush, a signer of the Declaration of Independence. Often, soldiers had shell shock from World War I and World War II, entered horticultural therapy as a means of rehabilitation upon re-entering the U.S. Horticultural therapy is unique in that it can be done individually, in group, or in a facility that offers horticultural therapy, and that the clients control their level of involvement. At-home outdoor horticultural therapy is often considered more of a challenge due to facilities having level surfaces, which are wheelchair-friendly, and premises that are built to be beneficial to persons with disabilities, utilizing raised beds, movable hanging vertical gardens, and a variety of hydroponic garden systems that utilize multiple techniques and approaches towards plant production and client therapy. Crops can be produced without the need of pesticides, fungicides, and insecticides, and organic nutrients can be used in indoor hydroponic gardening, obtaining the same flavor, taste, and fruit, disease resistance, and appearance as that of soil, without the need for land that may or may not be available to the client unless they own the land they live on. Many apartments do not permit outdoor gardens or on premises. Indoor gardens clean the air in the home, as well as the efficiency of hydroponics, which I have noted in my own gardens as 3 times the growth rate of traditional outdoor potted plants, when used in conjunction with supplemental lights and in a properly maintained environment. Intensity, watts, light color, warm, cool, types of pumping or watering method, medium, what the plant grows in, nutrient levels, types of nutrients utilized, as well as pruning responsibilities. Horticultural therapy demands a client whom will pay attention and give their focus and consideration for another living being, and if the client is not able to keep the plant alive, no side effects. Individuals generally begin valuing beauty in nature even if it comes from tubing and water pumps, if it brings them a form of control, work, and a goal, as well as validation of social vocational value in circumstances where an individual has already been socially labeled as disabled. Individuals that utilize their home as a garden generally benefit and show increased mental stability and well-being in conjunction with horticultural therapy use. At-home facilities also have the comfort factor in that the individual is at ease in an environment that is as calming or neutral as possible, versus the structured environment of prisons, hospitals, or rehab facilities. Plus, this eliminates the need for transportation to and from the rehab facility. Who is best suited for horticultural therapy? Individuals who have functional use of hands and upper body. However, with the use of assisted devices, the gap between individuals that are able and unable is closing. These devices include raised beds that accommodate enough space in between rows for the client to access, as well as work at comfortable working heights, as well as vertical growing. How hydroponics work. Plants need water, H2O, CO2, carbon dioxide, light, and a small amount of nutrients. I personally use 15 milliliters per gallon. It's pretty potent. Plants thrive in well-maintained hydroponic gardens due to clean, well-aerated water, a healthy air circulation, and possible supplemental CO2 injections, supplemental grow lights, or greenhouses that utilize the sun, and nutrients that can be purchased in many forms, liquids, solids, and sludges, or made naturally using fish waste as the nutrient source. In this, fish actually live in the reservoir. Water is moved through a process that could include wick, just like a candle, pumping, which uses a pump to move water and nutrients to plants residing in a variety of trays, pots, PVC tubes, or Rubbermaid containers, like the one I am going to show you. These systems can be purchased in complete form from an individual whom doesn't have the capabilities or time to construct their own. But by building it yourself, money is saved. The major difference between soil and hydroponic growth: soil can be left alone for a longer period of time. Hydroponics must be monitored, therefore giving the client the complete control over the life and growth rate. This is a cucumber seed. It will grow up hopefully one day to be a very large pickle. This entire root bed was planted 6 days ago, and from this point all of the seeds in this tray were full. Now all these trays reside in this grower, where it is watered, kept with a steady supply of nutrients, and provided a supplemental source of lighting. As mentioned earlier, these plants do take up quite a bit of water, but thankfully it's recirculated and recycled. That way there is no waste. And I bet you're all wondering, I wonder where that water's going to. Well, let's just take a look. This is the inside of my hydroponic therapy growing garden. The white root zone that you see in front of you is from a Thai hot chili pepper plant. It is approximately 5 weeks old, and this type of growth is very healthy. Notice the cups hanging. This is just planted yesterday, and that will be some more chili pepper plants. Have you ever wondered where artichokes come from? Well, if you look at this plant, that's where it will sprout from, and it will grow up and tall, form a bulb, and that's what you will be eating. Once you learn that these connections with food exist, and you learn where your food comes from, generally you will have a better understanding of the world around you, and have a more peaceful existence with that of your food and environment. I want to ask you, when it comes to what you eat, doesn't it make who you are? That being considered, if you use your own garden and your own home to produce your own food, wouldn't you agree with me that your food would be of higher quality than, say, a canned food? And it would have less pesticides, fungicides, insecticides used on it in its production, as well as it's going to have less salt. Food production is of major consideration when producing food in this quantity and quality. When we're producing artichokes, I wanted to ask myself, what would be the ideal artichoke for me? What would be the ideal food for me? And I wanted a food that would last a long time, be healthy, not take a lot out of the environment itself, which doing hydroponic indoor gardening does not do, as this is an entirely supplemental system, as well as it keeps me from having to go to the grocery store to buy these artichoke hearts. Because of this garden, I'm able to go ahead and supplement a lot of my income and not have to use it on groceries. Instead, I use it on something that's beneficial for myself, my family, and my environment in my living quarters. Works cited, Jim Blair, of Horticultural Healing. Living with the Land, Epcot Center Attractions. Tucson Botanical Gardens. Chicago Botanical Gardens. Narrator, Nicholas Guffey. Produced for Emporia State University, Department of Rehab Counseling.